What if the reason you feel exhausted, resentful, invisible, is not because you are weak, but because you have abandoned yourself? Psychologist Carl Jung once suggested that the greatest danger to a person is not the world outside, but the parts of themselves they refuse to face. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Many people don't lose themselves suddenly. They give themselves away, piece by piece. To be liked. To be needed. To avoid conflict. To be good. And one day they wake up feeling like a stranger in their own life. This video is about something that sounds selfish, but is actually psychological survival. Learning to put yourself first. Not in arrogance. Not in cruelty. But in wholeness. Because according to Jung, the person who sacrifices their soul to please others does not become virtuous. They become divided. Let's talk about why. Jung introduced the idea of the persona. The persona is the mask you wear to function in society. It's the version of you that says, "I'm fine. No worries. Whatever you want. I don't mind." It helps you survive socially. But here's the problem. If you over-identify with the mask, you forget who is underneath it. Many people who struggle to put themselves first are deeply identified with their persona. They are the responsible one, the strong one, the helper, the peacemaker, the good daughter, the reliable friend. But they have quietly disowned their anger, their needs, their limits, their desires. And Jung warned, whatever you suppress does not disappear. It goes into the shadow. The shadow, in Jungian psychology, contains the parts of you that you reject. For many self-sacrificing people, the shadow holds selfishness, assertiveness, aggression, desire, ambition, the word no. They were taught that these traits are wrong. So they built an identity around being selfless. But here's the psychological twist. When you refuse to put yourself first in healthy ways, your shadow will force you to do it in unhealthy ones. It comes out as passive aggression, burnout, emotional explosions, resentment, sudden withdrawal, secret fantasies of escape. The person who never says no eventually disappears without warning. Why? Because the psyche demands balance. Jung believed that wholeness, what he called individuation, requires integrating both light and dark. You must accept that you are capable of selfishness, so that you can choose healthy self-interest consciously. Otherwise, it controls you unconsciously. Why does putting yourself first feel wrong? Because many of us were conditioned to equate love with self-erasure. We learned love means sacrifice. Good people endure. Nice people don't make others uncomfortable. But Jung believed that morality without self-awareness becomes dangerous. If you always prioritize others, you teach people to overlook you. You teach yourself that your needs don't matter. You build relationships based on performance, not authenticity. And then comes guilt. The first time you say, "I can't. I don't want to. That doesn't work for me." It feels like betrayal. But here's the deeper truth. You are not betraying others. You are betraying the false identity they became comfortable with. There's a difference. An individuation, becoming who you truly are, often disappoints people who benefited from your self-abandonment. Jung once suggested that excessive virtue can hide unconscious darkness. The person who is always good may secretly feel superior. The person who is endlessly giving may unconsciously expect emotional payment. The person who never asserts may fantasize about dominance. This is shadow compensation. When you deny your power, it mutates. Putting yourself first prevents that mutation. It allows you to choose generosity rather than compulsively give. Choose kindness rather than fear rejection. Choose love rather than need validation. There's a massive psychological difference. One is freedom. The other is dependency disguised as virtue. Jung's life work centered around individuation, becoming whole. Individuation requires separating from collective expectations, questioning inherited beliefs, facing your own darkness, choosing your own values consciously. And here's what nobody tells you. When you individuate, you will disappoint people. The child who grows into their own identity disappoints controlling parents. The partner who sets boundaries disappoints someone used to unlimited access. The friend who stops overgiving disappoints those who benefited from imbalance. But disappointment is not cruelty. It is a boundary between two separate individuals. And without that boundary, there is no real relationship. Only enmeshment. Let's make this practical. 1. Observe your resentment. Resentment is a signal. It often means, I said yes when I meant no. Instead of shaming it, study it. 2. Reclaim the word selfish. Healthy selfishness means protecting your energy, choosing rest, having preferences, not over-explaining boundaries. Selfishness becomes toxic only when it ignores the humanity of others. But self-neglect is equally toxic. 3. Shadow work journaling. Ask yourself, where do I secretly feel taken advantage of? What do I want that I'm afraid to admit? Who would I be if I wasn't trying to be liked? Write without censoring. Your shadow will speak. 4. Practice micro-boundaries. Start small. Delay your response. Say, let me think about it. Decline without apology. Watch the guilt rise. Let it pass. That discomfort is your old identity dissolving. Putting yourself first is not about dominance. It's about integration. It's about becoming a whole human being instead of a socially acceptable fragment. Jung believed that what you resist within yourself becomes your fate. If you resist your needs, your desire, your limits, life will eventually force you into crisis. Burnout. Breakdown. Explosion. Escape. Or, you can choose awareness now. You can choose to say, my life is not a performance. My worth is not measured by how much I endure. I do not have to disappear to be loved. Putting yourself first is not selfish. It is the beginning of psychological maturity. Because the truth is this: the world does not need more martyrs. It needs whole people. And wholeness begins the moment you decide not to abandon yourself anymore.